On this Monday, Jackie Robinson Day, the 15th day of April 2024, as we're talking about what's going on with the world of sports. 1947 on this day. We'll do some Jackie Robinson a little bit later on. It's good to have you with us. Chris Benetti here, of course, today. He's been bouncing around trying to get through the show. Nervous, and that's always a problem for your hosts, of course, this Rizzo shortly, and yours truly. And, of course, Joy is in the house, does a great job of directing as we talk about what's happening with the world of baseball. We're, of course, in the New York studios today after a busy weekend, and of course the Patriots Day game today where the Guardians knocked off the Red Sox, scored some runs late, and Cleveland is a storyline that we'll spend some time on here today. We'll have Mark Kotze, he in a moment. He, of course, manager of the A's, who've done a nice job. They've won 3 straight series, had a good weekend, of course, against Washington, a comeback, of course, too. Beat Texas 2 out of 3 in Texas. So talk to the A's skipper, I think, for the first time on this show in a little bit, so we look forward to that. Let's give you a little potpourri from the weekend, and obviously since the Guardians have just played, we'll start with them because they, of course, win today. They did a very nice job of getting that last game against the Yankees on Sunday, and they came with 3 runs in the bottom of the 10th inning after they lost that doubleheader following the rainout. They never beat the Yankees. They get overwhelmed by the Yankees, but they won a nice game yesterday against the Yankee bullpen. Win again today. They're over 500. They're in first place. They're 10-5. They're doing a good job. So we give Cleveland credit, and they've had no Bieber, new manager. I mean, he got some issues with Cleveland long term, but 10 of their first 15, well done for them. Let's give them some credit. The Red Sox have not played that well at all. I mean, the Orioles, really at home, they've had a lot of trouble losing today. The Orioles walked in there, and they have had a lot of success in Boston. They obviously did a nice job there over the weekend. Red Sox had a tough weekend series, too. So, the Red Sox I'd be a little concerned with right now. A game is so over 500 in the American League East. The Blue Jays and Yankees will start a series tonight in Toronto, and once they're done with that series, they only got 6 games left the rest of the year. It's the one negative. We discussed this about the balanced schedule. Sometimes you get those rival games out of the way very soon, and then you play the bulk of the season where you don't see each other again, and the Yankees and Blue Jays, nothing you can do about it, are a perfect example of that with the 3 games that begin in Toronto this weekend. I think the storylines, I hate to say this because I don't want to pick on a dead carcass, but the storylines that stood the bad teams. The Rockies are terrible. Rough weekend in Toronto. They won the first game. They scored 12 runs. Losing the next 2, they get shut out. I mean, obviously, the White Sox, they can't score any runs. They got ambushed by the Reds. Were never really in any of the 3 games. They blew a game in Cleveland late last week, which they should have won with a 5-0 lead. I mean, a very, very poor performance by the White Sox. They won 2 games, 2-13. I don't know where the White Sox are going to be here at the end of the day. We know that they got a lot of it. Moncada's out. They traded Cease. Jimenez hasn't played. Who knows on Robert? They got a lot of injuries to go along with it. They are not a professional baseball team right now. They're booing the owner. Sell the team. Sell the team. That doesn't go over right either. He's been a very good owner for a while. They won a championship in 2005. But they're frustrated, the fan base, and they can't blame them. It's been a bad run, and the White Sox are pathetic. They're a terrible, terrible team. And the Marlins aren't that much better. I mean, they had a rough weekend, too. Only rough because they gave up all those runs yesterday in the 9th inning when Ozuna, who's all of a sudden Henry Aaron, hit a 3. I think he's got 7 homers. Hit his 3-run homer in the 9th with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Maybe a 2-run homer. No, I think it was 3-run homer. They were down 7-6. 2 strikes and 2 outs off Tanner Scott, and he does a nice job. So the Braves, who haven't played great, pitching issues, Strider. The Marlins are bad, too. And then the Rockies, we mentioned, are terrible. Nice job on the Mets. First off, Doc Gooden Day. They did that earlier in the day yesterday before their 3rd rubber win against Kansas City. They got 2 in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets have scored some runs, and they got nothing out of Lindor from an offensive standpoint. They had good pitching yesterday. They, did a nice job. They were competitive against Atlanta, which they have a lot of trouble with. They beat the Reds 2 out of 3. They beat the Royals. They won 3 straight series in a row. Haven't had Senga. The Mets have done a better job. Right around 500 right now. Better than most after that awful start where they lost. Where they lose their first 5 games before they finally won that second game with a doubleheader with Alonso's 9th inning homer against Detroit, which got that game tied. Then they won the game later on a base hit in that same inning against the Tigers. But the Mets have been a little better. Phillies haven't played that well. They split a 4-game series against Pittsburgh over the weekend, and they're getting nothing out of Harper. I hope he's not hurt. He's got 3 home runs on the same game. I think he's 11 for 58. I mean, he has, listen, I mean, Harper's a wonder. He's going going to the Hall of Fame. Two-time MVPs, world champion. No, I love Harper. Play on my team any day he wants, but he has not done anything in the first 2.5 weeks of the season, and you hope after a bad spring that he's not banged up. He had the one great game against Cincinnati, but other than that, he hasn't done an awful lot. And, of course, listen, the Phillies are 8-8. They haven't scored a ton of runs, so we keep an eye on that. Nice job by the NL Central teams. I mean, the Brewers won a series. And how about the Orioles, who still don't lose regular season, do not get swept in a regular season? Milwaukee 2 out of 3 there over the weekend in Camden Yards. They've been, 10-4? And then, of course, the Guardians or whatever they are, the Tigers are pretty good. I mean, that American League Central teams are a little better off than you thought. And the same thing goes to the NL Central, with the Pirates playing pretty well and the Cubs playing pretty well. Horrendous job on the bases by Rodriguez over the weekend. He doesn't play, and then he gets picked off first base for the last out of the game in a rubber game against the Cubs in Seattle. That's just not paying attention. I mean, that's just, that's terrible baseball. I don't want to hear what Service says, well, it happens. No, it doesn't happen. I mean, I know he's trying to protect his player, and this is a terrible play. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you cannot get picked off in that situation. This was on an overrule. You can't get picked off in that situation against Seattle to end the game. I mean, that is just awful, awful, awful baseball the last out. And, the Mariners have not played very, very well at all. And really, the American League West, Texas is only at 500. The Astros, although they did beat the Rangers 4 out of 7, they won their last 2. Altuve got hot finally. They're 6-11. So that division in the American League West in Seattle is under 500 too. Has not been so great. So, with sort of a little round the horn, a potpourri thing, there's not a lot specifically that I can get to. We know the Yankees are excellent, so we keep an eye on that. And where the Yankees are and the Orioles in the American League East, we understand. Both Centrals a little better than you think, so we have that going on right now. The Dodgers haven't been as great, 11-7. Profar hit a big 3-run double yesterday to get the Padres the rubber game in L.A. against the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. Good job by San Diego. Dodgers haven't played great either. 11 of their first 18. They had a million walk. What they have, 13 or 16 walks, whatever it was. I mean, that is unsustainable. You're not winning that way. No Buehler yet, so we'll keep an eye on the Dodgers. A little shaky start there. They played a lot of games against San Diego, 5 already. And American League West isn't that much better. Yankees right now are the cream of the crop in the sport after 2.5 weeks. The Yankees are the best team. That's where we stand. Busy day. Good to have you with us on this afternoon program after Cleveland whitewashed the Red Sox on Patriots Day in Fenway. And Alana's in the house. Thank goodness. Did an able job, tremendous job last week. She was on 2 shows on Wednesday and Friday, and she says hello to us now. Alana, how are you today? What's going on? Sure.
I'm good, Chris. I'm good. Welcome back from Augusta. I'm glad you enjoyed your time at the Masters. From the cream of the crop in the New York Yankees, Chris, to the bottom of the barrel in the Chicago White Sox. Marcus Thames, the Chicago White Sox hitting coach, basically said it can't get any worse than it is right now. And he's absolutely right. This is a team, Chris, that is off to its worst 15-game start in franchise history at just 2-13. Now, in their defense, if there is a defense, they are without their top 3 offensive forces. Luis Robert Jr., Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, they're out because of injury, and they've been shut out of Major League Baseball a worst 5 times. They have not scored a run in 5 games so far this season. The offense has been held to 1 or 0 runs, Chris, in a game 8 times. Also at the bottom of the league in terms of offensive categories. So if your offense isn't hitting, then of course it's going to put a tremendous amount of pressure on your pitching staff. And I would imagine that they're getting the sense that even in a 1-run, 2-run lead, that they're feeling the pressure and they're not feeling that that's enough. They're not getting the run support. They're not getting any hits. Simply put, everyone's trying to do a little bit too much. They are pressing, and it shows. And the result of pressing up and down the lineup and all the way throughout the rotation is losing baseball. So I don't know what's going to happen, but something's got to give, because that is unbelievably embarrassing. We thought that the White Sox were going to rebuild. I don't know that we thought that they were going to get off to a 2-13 start. On the other end of the coin, a good weekend series over the course of Friday, Saturday, Sunday between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. There seemed to be a little bit of a kerfluffle, if you will, between Jackson Profar and Will Smith. I think that Jackson Profar thought that perhaps Gavin Stone was trying to go up and in on him, but there's no way he was doing that, considering at the moment Gavin Stone was throwing a perfect game. After the ball game, Will Smith, the Dodgers catcher, was interviewed about it, and he said, I don't understand why Profar was getting upset. He was irrelevant, but really it was Profar who ended up getting the last laugh, because in the series finale on Sunday night, last night on ESPN, it was Profar that ended up having the 3-run double in the 7th inning to lift the Padres to a 6-3 victory over the Dodgers. So you figure, you know what, I guess he was relevant after all. But good on the Padres for being able to take 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. It was not a good weekend for LA. They had they gave up 15 walks over the course of the series with the Padres. That's not going to get it done. They didn't really hit much, and they have some serious pitching woes. Bobby Miller's now going on the IL. We don't know when Walker Buehler's going to come back, although he is supposed to have his 4th rehab assignment on Thursday of this week. So there's some question marks right now. Again, Yankees look pretty good the first 2.5 weeks. I still don't think anyone's going to beat the Dodgers in the NL West, but Jurickson Profar, I keep calling him Jackson because there's so many Jacksons. Jurickson Profar got the last laugh when it came to the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres. But again, speaking of Jackson, even though his name is Jurickson, Jackson Holiday, Chris, can finally take a breath because he was finally able to get his first big league hit. The Orioles had that nice win with Jackson getting his first hit on Sunday as well. So good for him and the Jackson Holiday family, because I know there was a lot of pressure on him.
15 walks in the one game last night. It's amazing. 15 walks in one game,
insane.
And you're right. Purifar, he was completely out of line. That pitch wasn't that inside, and what in the world, he's not trying to hit him in his 6th inning pitching a perfect game. You know, one thing about the Orioles
not during a perfect game. Not during a perfect game, but he did get the last laugh by giving him the lift with the double.
He's got to pay attention. One thing about the Orioles, I know a lot of people are going to make a big deal about they haven't been swept in 95 or 96 times, which is amazing in regular season series. You got to throw the statistic out because they were swept by Texas, so in the playoffs. So when I can't listen to regular season sweeps when you were swept in the postseason in the middle of that regular season sweep. So
Aren't you excited,
that message.
Aren't you excited with what the Orioles have coming together, though? I mean, this is a pretty exciting team. I mean, you see, I know what you're saying, though, about the 95 straight series in the regular season in which they haven't been swept, and that has been since Adley Rutschman got the call-up in May of last year. That's where that streak started. But the Orioles have some unbelievable young talent. You see that, you know, Jackson Holiday gets his first hit. You have Gunderson, obviously, you know, what was the kid's name? My goodness, I can't even talk today. Gunnar Henderson, obviously, the rookie of the year last year. What Cowser is doing for the Orioles right now, this kid cannot be stopped. And then, of course, you still have Adley Rutschman behind the plate. So if you have Gunnar Henderson, Cowser, Jackson Holiday, Adley Rutschman, all of you, plus Grayson Rodriguez on the hill, this is going to be a team that is built to win, hopefully, for the next 6-7 years. At least some excitement going on in Baltimore, obviously, with the new ownership. I love what I'm seeing from the Birds, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And those Yankee-Orioles games this year, they will be good. They play a lot now coming up right at the end of the month. Those would be good games. Good job out of Alana. You know, that's a trick. We all know how hard the job is, and his team plays hard all the time. Last year they swept the Braves, if you can remember that. And, of course, now they've won 3 consecutive series, so and in some comeback fashion, too. And let's bring in the skipper and have a conversation. Mark, thank you very, very much. Great to have you with us here. And I'll tell you right now, you had a rough start there with the Red Sox and, of course, Cleveland going in. You hung in there. You won a couple games. You beat Texas. You beat, obviously, Detroit. And a good job over the weekend against Washington. You got to be proud. You keep this team going. Good for you. Give me a little thumbnail. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, we left spring training. We thought we played better in spring training. I think there was a level of expectation when we got here to the Coliseum that we were going to come out and play really good baseball. And you know, we have a young group. This group came out first opening series against Cleveland. You know, we didn't play great. I think there was a little bit of tightness to the guys and feeling that pressure of going out and competing, going out and winning baseball games. And so first homestand wasn't great. We went on the road, which I think was a good thing. We went to Detroit, played Detroit when they were playing really good. And, you know, we were able to take 2 or 3 on that opening weekend series there. We went into Texas and, you know, managed to come from behind in Texas and take a game and win the series and then come home against Washington and a great comeback win yesterday.
And, of course, Sears did a great job, and you won the game on a home run in the 9th inning. So that was probably one of those dramatic wins you've had in your tenure here in the A's, the way you won against the world champs in that rubber there last week at Globe Field. Give me some thoughts on that. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Well, it was fun just post game hanging out with Boch after that one for sure, right?
Yes.
We had some good stories to share, but no, JP's done a nice job. I mean, this young man made 32 starts for us last year in his rookie year. He made every start he posted. He's come out this season, and just kind of continuing to grow. It's been fun to watch. His last start was great. He utilized his changeup really well last start, and just if you go up and down this roster, you can see the youth, but you can see the talent, and we know it's going to take time. There's examples in front of us that have gone through the same path. With the Orioles, you look at the Orioles club, what they've gone through, and now Brandon Hyde's done an amazing job of just leading this group, and so the blueprint's in front of us. We've got talent. It's our job to continue to teach these kids and get them better every day.
Mark, what is your philosophy here? Win as many games as you possibly can, or is your job to make sure this young team grows? In other words, will you leave a young player in there to face a left-hand pitcher if he's a lefty late in the game? Although the better move might be bringing in a pinch hitter, you want to get him some experience and see how he handles that kind of moment against the lefty. Leaving a pitcher in an extra, a couple of batters to see how he navigates. Although it might cost you, a ball game, in the bigger picture, it's more important for the franchise. That's a tricky line for a manager to walk. How are you handling that? Let me hear.
Well, I definitely want to win as many games as possible. I'm competitive. These last two seasons have been hard. They've been a grind going through, a 50-win season last year. Understanding that, yes, that we definitely do have to, give these kids an opportunity to go through those situations, to be in those big moments, to experience what it feels like to face a left-handed reliever. At the same time, just balancing trying to win, Chris. I mean, it's the big leagues. It's about performance. We're judged by wins and losses for the most part. And, giving this team the best chance to succeed. We don't necessarily have a group of veterans that are sitting on the bench as well. So, we utilize these matchups. We've always done that here in Oakland. One of my mentors, and Bob Melvin, does an amazing job with that. And, we in that mindset just creates giving each individual player on that 26-man roster the best chance for success. And that's how we evaluate it. We game plan for that. But, I do see the importance of leaving, a JP Sears in a game to get through that fifth or sixth inning, to get that big out, to go through that moment, to challenge him in that, sense. And as well as these young left-handed hitters that, I know myself, you look at the numbers when I played, it was much more comfortable at bat against a left-handed starter than it was a left-handed reliever, someone like Jesse Orozco coming in, flipping the slider that I had no chance on. So, you want guys to have the best opportunity for success, and that's really how we look at it.
Well, what does Mark Kotsay is doing here? All right, here are a couple of toughies now about dealing with the environment you're dealing with. I mean, I know they're young kids, but, they're not immune to news and, a lot of empty seats on this idea in Sacramento. Do you let them talk about it? Do you say, guys, I don't want to hear it. We're here to play baseball. I don't care if it's on the moon. We're here to play. Or do you guys have discussions as far as the future of the franchise goes? Let me see how a manager with a young team handles that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not going to restrict them from talking about it at all. They're free to, give their opinions and give their thoughts about the move. The biggest thing I think that's, in somewhat settling is that we do have direction. We went through a spring training, this season without direction, without knowing where we were going to play a 2024 2025 season, and now it's in line. So we also have that direction for the next 3 seasons, and that does bring some peace of mind to the situation. And at the same point, for us as a ball club here in Oakland in the final season, we want to go out and we want to win games. We want to be competitive and give these fans something to really, enjoy throughout this year. And that's our mindset. It's winning every game we can, with that attitude of this is the way we're going out, and we want to go out, in that fashion.
A lot of people have brought it up. I know you sent the kid down who was 3 for 7 to start the year, Ruiz, they're the outfielder, and everybody said, the A's, what are they doing? Let the kids stay up. I deal with that with questions on the radio and everything else when they get the A's calls. What was the answer for that? Help me out there so I know. Go ahead. I'm curious.
Well, he wasn't going to get to play every day. And really in development, you want guys to play every day. So we would need to get him consistent at bats. To see it, he's worked really hard on a swing change mechanically. I've watched every at bat he's taken in AAA so far. The swing looks better. The direction looks better. He hit a ball yesterday, I think 420 feet. So that I think this is the right move for us, to develop this kid, to get him, in a place where we feel like he can have long-term success, not just short-term success. I think that was the right move. And at the same time, we're evaluating guys on our current roster, a guy like Lawrence Butler that was scuffling. And since, Detroit series, when we took him aside and just kind of talked to him about, a timing, mechanism for him offensively in his approach, he's done well. So, everybody's going to go through their ups and downs, but I think the biggest thing, is identifying areas that we can make improvement, make adjustments for these players, and give them the best chance to go out and play every day and have success.
All right, last thing for you, Mark, from a manager's perspective. This is, first, you coached for a while. You had you utilized all your talents to have a lengthy career. And now you're managing the A's. We all know the A's situation. You explained it. Now you have a home in Sacramento. But the A's are rebuilding, and down the road in Vegas, hopefully good, raring to go there. But you got to deal with these growing pains. And 162 games is 162 games. I mean, that's a lot of sleepless nights in some hotel room in Arlington. How am I going to get a couple of wins out of these guys? So it's tricky for a young manager like yourself. How do you handle that day to day? Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, on a personal level, I really lean on my mentors and the guys in the game that have gone through this prior to me. I do have great relationships in the game with Bruce Bochy, Dave Roberts, Brad Osmus, who was here as my former bench coach, Buddy Black, who's going through a very similar situation as I am right now with a young club and developing. And, Buddy's been around the game for a long time. So there's definitely conversations with those guys. But for me, my focus is, I'm enjoying this opportunity. There's only 30 of these jobs. I come into work every day with the mindset that we're going to win a baseball game and that we're going to get better. And that's really the focal. So those, I don't really necessarily have sleepless nights. I have nights where, yes, the brain wanders and what can we do different? How can we get better? What procedures or what can we challenge in our processes? So, for me, my mindset is that we're going to go forward and we're going to get better and we're going to become a team that people obviously respect and that we can compete every day in this really difficult division of the AL West.
Well, I'll give you one that's funny. It's something personal. I have a 21-year-old who's a great sports fan. He's a senior at Wisconsin. And I'll give you one guess who his favorite team is. Yours. Yours.
Oakland Athletics.
I swear to God. Yeah, he loves the A's. And I was a Giant fan. And he's a good sports fan. This is not somebody he follows the games, knows what's going on. So when we have success, I will bring him to some games. I'll be in that dugout. I'll wave to you. You wave to him back. Will you please? I appreciate you coming on today. Great job.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Had the opportunity to play with Doc Gooden. We'll get into Doc's retirement yesterday, but Mookie, thanks so much for being with us. Let's talk about what you have to do today. You're a very busy man, but tonight at Citi Field, the wonderful Rachel Robinson is going to be there at 101 years of age. You're going to present her some flowers. Just how special is this moment for you as you get to see her again and continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Jackie?
I think that's the main thing right there. I've had the honor of meeting her earlier in my career, and tonight will be a very, very special honor, especially for me because I understand that we celebrating, the legacy of Jackie Robinson, but she is as big a part of the legacy as he was, because she was there supporting him through the rough times. But we know there were some rough times, and just to show her the acknowledge her for her contribution, the contribution that Jackie made for all of us, not only just for baseball, but for society in general. It's just thrilling. I'm honored to be part of it.
Now, your father was living in Brooklyn, Mookie, when Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. And, of course, you were a fan watching this happen as well. Tell me what goes through your mind when you think about those moments and what he means to you as far as your own career is concerned.
Well, first, I don't think that, we can, speculate on what he had to go through to achieve what he did. And, we can complain sometime about what we go through, the struggles that we have, and they are definitely true and valid. But I don't think that anything that we have gone through can compare to what Jackie went through during that period, of this country. He did more than just, broke the color barrier. He started a change in culture, a change in the way people think, the way people view themselves and others. And that is so important in today, particularly in today's society and stuff. Jackie opened the doors for a lot of people. And I was one person who benefited from what he accomplished over the years, because if he doesn't accomplish what he did, who knows? I'm saying accomplishment because it goes more than just what he did on the baseball field. It's just the opportunity to respect, other people. And it's just a tremendous, tremendous honor to have played baseball, and I owe it all to Mr. Robinson, because he really, really was a pioneer.
Yeah, you said that he opened doors for so many people like yourself. For me, too. I wouldn't be sitting here without the efforts and the sacrifices that Jackie Robinson had made. And his son, David Robinson, will throw out the first pitch tonight at Citi Field. Yesterday was a big day for you, too, as well, Mookie, because you had an opportunity to celebrate Dwight Gooden, getting his number retired, and you presented him with a bronze pitching rubber. Take me through kind of the emotions of yesterday and what you loved about that day.
Well, yes, it was a very special day for all of us, because we know Doc as a person, we know him as a teammate, and it was an absolute honor to have played with him. I think that we had a different seat because I played behind him, and like I often told him, when he pitched his day to pitch was my day off, outside, because there was a lot going on, and you end up being a spectator a lot of times, and it was just an honor, to be there and to share those memories with him yesterday, and we did the good and the bad, and to see how he has developed as a player, and yes, we all know of the struggles, and he is one to acknowledge those struggles, but he's overcome them. And I think the type of person that he is today, we're friends, and until we just don't see each other anymore. And I think yesterday was a perfect example that the guys showed up to honor Doc for the person that he is as a teammate and as a person. It was just great, great honor.
It looked like you guys just picked up where you left off, and you were teammates with Doc for about 6 seasons. Did you think he was going to live up to the hype, Mookie?
In all honesty, in spring training, when he first said they have this kid coming up is going to throw BP and stuff like that, and there've been so many number one picks and high draft picks, that this expectation is just so high that it's almost impossible for guys to live up to those expectations. And when they don't, then they list them as, they bust. They use the term bust, and they're still good ball players, known right. But Doc was different. He surpassed any expectation I think that the Mets had of him. I know that I had of him. I wanted him to be a good pitcher because he was a talented young player, but to achieve what he had, I don't think anyone can foresee, project that. I know scouts will say, well, they knew it could happen. No, they did. They knew he had talent, but they didn't know about his mound presence, his determination and will to be successful on the mound. So, no, I don't think anyone could predict that.
And it always seemed like anytime he took the hill, something special had the opportunity to happen. Again, as I mentioned, you are a busy man, and you and our own Harold Reynolds are going to be on the roster as honorary team members for the Hall of Fame East-West Classic, a tribute to the Negro League's All-Star Game. How important is that for you, and how much are you looking forward to this event?
Well, the first and the most important word that you said there was honorary. I I think that's what it's going to be. But it's important. I had the honor of meeting a lot of the old Negro League players back in Albany some 10 years ago, and just what a great time, just the conversations, talking with them and for them to acknowledge how baseball has progressed and changed over the years. And it's something that we need to share with our kids so that they don't forget. I love to talk to my kids about my play, and they see the videos and stuff. But I want them also to remember people like Jack Robinson and other Negro League players who played way before me, who allowed me to have the opportunity to play. But it's going to be a tremendous day. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be fun, and I just can't wait to see some of the old guys go out there pretend they still have it.
Yeah, more than about 24 former major leaguers are going to be there in attendance. You guys are playing the game on May 25th at Doubleday Field. Honorary member, but a great, great person, a great baseball mind. Mookie Wilson, thanks so much for being with us today, sir. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
If you'd have asked me to do it only in this uniform, I would have did that 10 times over 10. So, but to be able to come back here these last couple of years, to be able to hit some milestones here has been great. So it's nice. Milestones are great, but I don't like them. So just get them over with and just focus on baseball, and that's it.
Congratulations are once again in order for Andrew McCutchen as we start the Rizzo Report with Kutch. He hit home run number 300 in what has been a phenomenal career. You will not find a guy that is more of a class act in this game than Andrew McCutchen. He's the 12th active player to reach 300 home runs. In fact, he's just the 4th player to do so while wearing a Pirates uniform, joining Hall of Famers Ralph Kiner, Willie Stargell, and also Jeremy Burnitz. He had said that he didn't want any attention for reaching the milestone, but his teammates were far more enthusiastic. Of course they're going to give you a celebration and celebrate you, Kutch. Come on. He did say that it meant a lot to do it, of course, as you just heard, in a Pirates uniform, said he wouldn't want to do it in any other place. He also stole home in yesterday's game as part of a double steal. Very Jackie Robinson of him. Congratulations are also in order for Kenley Jansen as he moves into the top 5 in terms of career saves. Kenley tied John Franco for the top 5 on the all-time saves list with his 424th yesterday. He trails only Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Lee Smith, and Francisco Rodriguez on the all-time list. Jansen struck out Trout to end the game. Trout is now 1 for 12 with 9 Ks in his career off of Kenley Jansen. So we go from the Rizzo Report to Turn Up the Heat. I bring in Chris Russo back for this segment here on Turn Up the Heat. So I ask you this, Chris. With career save number 424, in your opinion, is Kenley Jansen a future Hall of Famer?
Listen, I love Jansen. He's got guts. He sat there on the bench when the Dodgers lost to Washington because the Dodger faithful, Dave Robertson, not wrongly, had lost some confidence in him, and he didn't moan and groan about it. He came right back the following year and, helped close for a championship team when they beat Tampa in the pandemic year, and he's a good guy. I have no problems with him. Now, this is going to annoy people. I'm sorry. I'm sticky with these Hall of Famers who are relief pitchers. I don't think there's many of them who really are Hall of Famers who are relievers. I can name you the 5 or 6 in my lifetime. He is not a Hall of Famer.
But there's only 4 people on this list right now. 4 pitchers ahead of him on the saves list. 3 of them are in the Hall of Fame. I don't think you're going to argue Mariano Rivera. You're not going to argue Trevor Hoffman. Lee Smith is on there. The only one that's ahead of him is Francisco Rodriguez, as he tied John Franco. So Mariano definitely is. Trevor definitely is. Lee Smith is. So why isn't Kenley?
Well, Lee got elected by the writers, the executive committee. He was not elected by the media. So the highest he ever got in the media vote was 56%. So I look at the executive committee. I don't look that, to my eyes, that is not as significant. You got 15 years to get in via the writers, now 10. If you can't get 75% in 10 years, I don't think you're a Hall of Famer. That's me.
So is Franco because he's a lefty? Is Franco a Hall of Famer in your opinion because he's a lefty?
I love John Franco. He's one of my all-time favorites. I don't think I've interviewed anybody more in my life than John Franco. And he did it forever. He did it for 2 teams. I'm going to be a hard grader.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't think Franco's in Hall of Fame. No, he's not. No, he's not. And now I know they put Hoffman in. I don't think Hoffman's a Hall of Famer either. You go look at Hoffman in the postseason. Oh, he was terrible in the postseason. Oh, he was awful. He's not a good postseason.
It's about the entire body of work, Chris. It's the whole body of work. All right. Is Billy Wagner a Hall of Famer? Is Billy Wagner a Hall of Famer?
No, he didn't pitch well in the offseason. He didn't pitch well in the postseason, too.
Well, he didn't pitch well in the offseason. Nobody does.
Postseason. You got to get outs in the postseason.
Your team also has to be in the postseason. Your team also has to get there.
In 15 years, you're going to get to the postseason. How do I put Lee Smith in a postseason when he killed the Cubs against the Padres in 1984 when Garvey killed him? Garvey, and he killed him in Game 4. He's terrible. I can't put him in the Hall of Fame when you have that kind of blown save. Now he got in, fine. Who cares what I think? But you asked me a simple question. Eckersley's a Hall of Famer, and I know he blew the game against Gibson. Eckersley a Hall of Famer, Mariano a Hall of Famer, Hoyt Wilhelm a Hall of Famer. There's not many of these guys who are relievers in my eyes.
A Hall of Famer.
Bruce Suter's a Hall of Famer. I don't look at Hoffman as a Hall of Fame reliever. That's my take. And I'll tell you something. Here's another thing I'll tell you. You know who also doesn't think he's a Hall of Fame reliever? Every Yankee fan I've ever run into. Bring Hoffman in. We'll beat him.
Oh, well then the Yankees have spoken. So let's just go ahead and take the plaque off right now. By the way, did you know that Jackie Robinson's the only one that has 2 plaques in the Hall of Fame? The reason being, and there's a great article by Sweeney Murdy in MLB.com that talks about the fact that when Jackie's plaque was up there when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, that he wanted it based on merit. He didn't want it to have anything to do with the fact that he broke the color barrier. Then as time went on, Rachel Robinson, his wonderful wife, who's 101 now, who Mookie Wilson's going to be giving her the flowers this evening at Citi Field, over the course of time and as things evolved, they did think it was important to illustrate the fact that he went through all of these things off of the field dealing with racism, and then they changed the plaque to symbolize that. So the original plaque is actually at the Jackie Robinson Museum in New York City. All right. Thoughts on Nestor Cortez's pump fake? Yeah, see, I can school you too every once in a while. Thoughts on Nestor Cortez's pump fake during the windup? This is a guy, Chris, that is known for a lot of different mechanical, twerks and tweaks and movements. I don't know if you saw this, but take a look at this. What do you think?
Yeah, I had not seen that over the weekend. He's got a lot of Louis T on it on Nestor. He's got a lot of Louis T-O. I like it. Funny. What the heck? And he had not pitched great early on here in this year. He's very important to the Yankees. He is very crafty. He's a very, very good second banana. He's sort of he's different than a Cole who throws the ball 100 miles an hour. I'm a big Cortez fan. He can do anything he wants. And the Yankees we all know how good the Yankees are. If they get any kind of pitching, him included, they're going to be a big time. We know they're a big time team. They're going to have a hell of a year. No question about it.
Do you want to ask Nestor Cortez if Trevor Hoffman is a Hall of Famer? Nestor Cortez, by the way, love the guy. My Cuban brother. He has a 7.07 ERA in his 3 other starts besides against the Marlins.
Lee, our researcher, Lee, do me a favor, please, for Alano's benefit. Could you give me his postseason, Hoffman's career in the postseason,
I don't care.
Please?
Whole body of work. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he ever recorded an out in the postseason. It's a whole body of work. It doesn't matter to me. All right, best part about being in the Masters.
Not for a reliever. Go ahead.
What's the best part about being at the Masters, Mr. Rich Guy?
Oh, the Masters. No, don't give me the rich nonsense. Don't do that.
What is the best part about being at the Masters?
I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you right now. So I walk out of one of these hospitality tents on Friday morning at 8:15 on the way to the 16th hole. So I walk out, Jeannie's with me. I get somebody screaming at me, "Mad Dog, get over here. Mad Dog, I want you to meet some people." So I look over and I walk over. You know what it is? I could not believe it.
No idea.
Peyton
Trevor
Manning.
Peyton.
Peyton Manning. I couldn't. It made my week. Peyton Manning.
I love him.
Wow.
I'm a Broncos fan. He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah, he obviously is a member there. I thought that was very interesting. I love that. And I'm telling you, the hilly terrain, you better be able to walk. That's a hilly terrain. That's, as you heard that, I'm sure you've heard about that. It's very much hillier than you think. But the 15th and the 16th holes are a sight to behold.